Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. The Prime Minister has made his first campaign visit to Tasmania since calling the election. The call-in was short on fanfare though, with the major local issues left untouched. The spotlight instead on pledges and promises to sway voters.
The Prime Minister's first visit to Tasmania this election campaign. A blink and you'll miss it stopover on the northwest coast.
We're going to give priority to local media first.
But despite flying in the travelling press pack, many local media were kept in the dark, pledging a health hub for Burnie, including family care and domestic violence services, along with an urgent care clinic.
A centre for wellbeing is what this is, basically a centre for looking after this community.
The Liberals matching the $8 million funding commitment, both parties keeping health firmly on the agenda.
We'll be talking about health right through to May 3.
As they're doing with the Tasmanian Freight Equalisation Scheme.
The Bass Strait is great for biosecurity, it does all the wonderful things it does, but then when you try to move your produce to the other part of the mainland, as we say, it certainly adds a cost.
Labor pledging $95 million for support of the scheme.
So this is a significant increase at 25% across all aspects of the program.
This really does make a difference right at the farm gate.
Days after the Liberals committed $65 million.
Again, they're late to the party here. We expected to see announcements in Labor's budget and there was nothing in there. So
the major parties chasing each other's pledges.
We will always be the party that will stand up for Tasmanians.
I will always back our communities and I'll fight for our region.
Taking turns to outdo each other as the campaign trail winds on. Tom Crosby, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, Tascos and Vinnies have shared what's at the top of their federal election wish lists, urging candidates to address poverty and inequality through vital policies. Both organisations are calling for increased working age payments and investment in more affordable housing.
We're calling on our next federal government to raise the rate of job seeker, youth allowance and related payments to bring them in line to the age pension rate of at least $82 a day.
The current waiting list for social housing in Tasmania tipped over the 5,000 mark.
The 5 key priorities focus on income support, housing, digital access, community services and taxation reform. With some experts predicting a minority Labor victory at the upcoming federal election, the state government is raising concerns about the prospect of Labor forming a coalition with the Greens. State MP Michael Ferguson says that outcome would put Tasmania's mining, aquaculture and forestry industries into doubt. The latest ABS data shows more than 15,000 Tasmanians are employed in those sectors.
Those are jobs which are actually in the sights of the Greens. They want them gone. They want them put away. We saw it happen with forestry. We're seeing it happen with salmon, aquaculture.
A spokesperson for the Prime Minister says they've already unequivocally ruled out doing a deal with the Greens with the aim to secure majority. Premier Jeremy Rockliff has confirmed he's seeking advice on special legislation to ram the Macquarie Point Stadium project through Parliament, a move that's been condemned by critics and planning experts. But the Rockliff government now has the numbers to get the proposal through the lower house after Labor confirmed its unconditional support.
Despite another damning report causing a wave of backlash against Macquarie Point Stadium in Parliament yesterday, Jeremy Rockliff admits he's considering special legislation to override the current project of state significant process.
Yes, I have sought advice. Post process or enabling legislation, this Parliament will have its say.
But planning experts say that risks setting a dangerous precedent for developers.
If you've got a complex project, you need to use your political connections and approach state government to get a special assessment process.
The Greens and some independents aren't happy about it either, who are for the Tassie Devils teams but fiercely against the stadium.
Public scrutiny for the process would be completely cut out, and that is obviously what the Premier is wanting to do.
What it says is that this Premier will deliver an AFL stadium no matter what the cost is to Tasmania.
The opposition says one can't be had without the other, as does the AFL.
Any politician who says that they support the teams but they don't support the stadium is being dishonest with Tasmanians.
Labor today confirming they're backing the project without question.
We'll support the stadium through the Parliament because Tasmania has fought for these teams for generations.
Giving the Premier the numbers he needs for it to pass the first hurdle, the lower house, and the Planning Commission's draft assessment of Mac Point, also causing a stir for Devils Chief Executive Brendan Gale, saying in an email to members the club has concerns it understated the benefits of the development, citing a 40% increase in Auskick registrations, among other perks. The fate of the stadium now rests on the approval of one independent in the upper house. Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
A 15-year-old has been charged with murder following the death of another teen on Dixon Street in Glenorchy last month. Police say the 19-year-old man was found unconscious and unresponsive after a late-night altercation and died 11 days later in hospital. A 23-year-old man was also charged with murder last week. With 2 months left of half-price bus fares in Tasmania, new data shows the Liberal state election sweetener hasn't had a significant impact on the number of people using public transport. In response to a question on Notice, Minister Erica Betts revealed the number of boardings on metro buses in February was in fact 1.3% lower than a year ago. But he claims there's anecdotal evidence long-distance services have seen an uptick in passengers. Rights for renters in Tasmania to have pets are a step closer after laws to strengthen them pass the lower house. In some cases, tenants in rental properties are faced with choosing to stay where they live without their pet or finding a new place to call home.
We went to the election with a policy to allow pets in rentals. We've found, I think, an improved position that I think brings more certainty to the sector.
The Greens also pleased with the result, but say it was a missed opportunity to include amendments for tenants to install disability safety or security modifications to properties. A local children's charity fears it won't be able to provide enough warm clothing this winter, experiencing a surge in demand much earlier than expected. Tassie Mums launching its Coats for Kids campaign, calling for 1,000 jackets to be donated to disadvantaged children.
Volunteers ferociously packing bags ahead of a chilly winter, following the busiest month on record for Tassie Mums.
We've supported over 300 children in March, and we don't usually see figures like that until later in the winter.
This month it's the outside layer thereafter, launching the 7th Coats for Kids campaign. 1,000 good quality, clean winter jackets and coats needed from Tasmanian families that have outgrown theirs.
Children's sizes from 1 right up to size 16 in all genders, colours, sizes.
Coats can be dropped off at local Coles supermarkets, with hopes donations will come from across the state to meet demand, alongside other items.
All clothes, anything really. There's tops, jackets, bottoms, swimming wear, sleepwear, everything that we need here.
The Coats for Kids campaign will wrap up in mid-May, but Tassie Mums is still calling for donations beyond that. Things like shoes, toys and nappies, all in high demand. Some of these donations proving the missing key to giving disadvantaged children the same opportunities as others.
A family we supported with a pram, that pram meant that those children were able to attend school. Without it, they were missing an extraordinary amount of school.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
It's only one night for those taking part, but it's a harsh reality for the many Tasmanians who sleep rough every night. Local business and community leaders preparing to brave a cold winter night outside MyState Bank Arena, with the annual Vinnie's CEO Sleep Out quickly approaching.
While I do have many creature comforts that those that live on the streets don't enjoy, I'm going to try and do it as roughly as I can to really get a feel for what it's all about.
But this year you don't have to be a CEO to get involved.
Camp out in the backyard, maybe sleep under the stars, be in their car, be on their couch, experience what it's like to sleep rough.
Vinnie's is hoping to raise $200,000 for people facing homelessness. This year's Sleep Out will take place on June 19. 4 Greater Hobart mayors are looking to lock in $500 million in federal funding for the specialised STEM facility at UTAS's Sandy Bay campus.
We are desperately undervaluing those specialist careers, and a new STEM centre will really lift things for Greater Hobart.
The group also calling on money to progress a number of transport projects like additional ferry services and a Tasman bridge upgrade.
Students need to be able to get here effectively, efficiently, and do so in a sustainable way.
UTAS hopes all levels of government support its business case. A Tasmanian group keeping people out of hospital by delivering in-home care is celebrating a major expansion, moving into new headquarters in Launceston's St Luke's building. Salvio's team of nurses provide ongoing care for a range of conditions as well as midwifery.
Keeping people in the home and in terms of some of our postnatal services, hotels, and when people don't need to be in hospital.
Our nurses are almost part of the family in some cases. That intimate connection enables clients to be able to discuss things with their nurse that they've never discussed with anybody else.
The new office will also soon include a mini day hospital to further expand the care they provide. It's often said the kitchen is at the heart of the home, and this year it will also be at the heart of Seniors Week. The theme, Connecting Generations Through Food, unveiled by Kota today. It encourages the creative use of recipes to help people share stories and celebrate milestones across generations.
We all love food. We all know, even last night, talking with my mum and my daughter, we were looking at old recipe books, and it just brings people together.
Seniors Week is now in its 27th year and will take place from October 13.
It seems there's no rest for the wicket. Tassie quick Riley Meredith is wasting no time this off-season, signing on with the Tigers for 2 more years. But before that, he's heading overseas to play for Islamabad United in the Pakistan Super League.
It's exciting. It'll be a lot of cricket hopefully, and hopefully, like I said, another couple of titles.
It's then off to England for the 28-year-old to play for Somerset in the UK county competition. The Tigers women, meanwhile, have fallen painfully short in their Abu Dhabi friendly against Essex. Schoolgirl Mia Barwick managing 28 runs. Hayley Silver-Holmes smashing 68 off 59 balls as Tasmania set a target of 306. Tassie kept churning through the English batters, but not quick enough. Essex taking a 1-wicket victory. Tasmania's bowlers have been on target in their opening National Indigenous Cricket Championships match, sending 5 catches to wicketkeeper Braden de Vries. It also leads scoring against New South Wales, hitting 33, but Tasmania would fall short in the chase. Reece French 30 not out after Tassie's 10 overs, 12 runs short of a win. The start of the new look SFL Premier League is only days away with the return of some old school rivals. Clarence welcomes a wash of new faces, including a new coach, while Lauderdale are looking for redemption.
Out with the old, in with the new. This year's SFL sporting a fresh look as Brighton joins 5 former TSL clubs for the reimagined Premier League format.
The main purposes of doing this is to really bring the community aspect. All clubs in the SFL are part of their communities, so bringing crowds back is a major part of it.
It all begins under lights Friday night. Brighton and Glenorchy get the very first game of the new look comp before Saturday's return of the good old Clarence Lauderdale rivalry.
They're going to be young, fast, enthusiastic, as a lot of young kids are coming into their senior football, so we've got to make sure that we show our maturity and our physical presence.
Both teams making drastic changes to their squad.
We've had 20 blokes leave from last year, which is a lot, but we've also gained a fair few as well.
But it's not just new players in the mix. Both clubs also welcoming 2 new coaches in Brent Dolliver and Grant Fagan.
We've ended up with a really good, strong squad of young guys that are very, very fit and competitive.
Meanwhile, the Demons will host the Tigers, and this time it's the men kicking off the due for the women, who are relishing their new Premier League billing.
We have some really, really talented young talent coming through from the 18s and some of the Devils. Yeah, we have a really exciting young group.
We love playing Lauderdale. It's a good rivalry, good hit out, and it's probably a good first hit out for both teams, straight up.
Both teams ready to kick off come Saturday.
We're so excited, we're eager to go.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
The Chargers men's coach is predicting an off-season change of the rule, which saw their opening round NBL 1 game against the Thunder ruled a no result after a power cut. Although he did see plenty of bright sparks before the stadium was plunged into darkness.
Well, I think we had some great positives. Harry Griffiths came in and made 3 threes in his first stint out there. Richo was obviously great for us, and Henry and Will coming into the league had some really great minutes for their first time.
They hit the road this weekend to play Sandringham and Casey. And Taryn Armstrong's G-League playoffs run has ended in the first game with a narrow home court loss to Valley Suns this afternoon. Taryn landing 14 points and 8 assists in the knockout game, but it wasn't enough to get his Warriors over the line in what would end up as a 4-point game. This half-court Hail Mary wouldn't have saved the day, even if it had been a buzzer beater.
Good evening. Hobart a top of 19 degrees today. Launceston and King Island our warmest with 22. Devonport and Burnie 20 degrees. All temperatures on or above average for April, which you would expect so early in the month. Grove, Bushy Park and Low Head 20 degrees. Flinders Island and Strawn 19. St Helens and Friendly Beaches 18 today, but Lyoweeney did the best job, warming up from its overnight low by 16 degrees. A good hike. Just a few patches of scattered cloud today, mainly over the west and far north, as that cloud started to move off the east coast. The cloud is all still there through the Northern Territory, Queensland and northern New South Wales. Elsewhere, just some mid-level cloud over Western South Australia and a bit with a front off WA. Tomorrow, a weak trough affects central New South Wales and Tasmania as a high moves over the bight. Troughs continue over the far north. A low develops off the coast of Western Australia. South to southwesterly winds increasing to 15 to 25 knots over the south and east and up to 30 knots over northern and western waters, 5 to 10 knot winds over the inland lakes. Strong wind warning for waters between Sandy Cape and Stanley. Forecast for tomorrow, 19 with a shower. Hobart, showers increasing over Cygnet, 19 the top. Shower or two for Norfolk, 20 the high. Launceston, 22 and partly cloudy. Devonport a high of 20. Campbelltown the same. Burnie tomorrow expecting a top of 21 and partly cloudy. The chance of a shower for Strawn, 18 the high and 21 for Smithton. St Helens tomorrow, 19 and partly cloudy. A top of 20 for Swansea and Fingal. On Friday, showers developing in the west and far south and increasing before extending statewide in the evening. Showers into Saturday, contracting to the west, south and Bass Strait during the day. And on Sunday, showers firstly over the north and west, but pushing statewide during the afternoon. Small hail in the west and snow flurries above 800 metres. 32 and partly cloudy in Perth. Fine in Adelaide. Showers developing in Melbourne. A high of 21 there. Sunny weather forecast for Canberra and Sydney. Showers easing and 28 on the way in Brisbane. And in Tasmania, it's 15 right now in Hobart, 17 in Launceston, currently 16 degrees in Devonport. Kim, you know there's an election coming up. All my information that's coming in my letterbox is stuffing it up completely. And all the posters and signs that everyone's got in their front yards. I don't know if I'll be voting for an electoral candidate or a real estate agent by the time we get around to it.
I've got a good idea who I know you're voting for. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.